Hey folks, this is Dr. Jeff Halls here at Vitality Chiropractic in Tucson, Arizona. Today I'm going to just go through a series of 5 stretches or mobility exercises that will help you to open up the lower extremity. I pretty much call this spinal hygiene. This is just mobility and motions to increase your health and well-being. Do what you can. There's modifications to make these all easier. To a large extent, I'm going to teach quite a few of my patients how to do the modifications so that it's right for them. One of the key things though is your body's meant to be mobile, so do what you can. If it feels uncomfortable, that's one thing, but if it starts to hurt, then you need to back off and stop doing it, obviously. Just use a little bit of common sense when you go through any kind of stretching or mobility. Okay, so here's the thing is that typically I'm going to teach you, just like with the upper extremity, with the lower body, I'm going to teach you how to open up the front, then we're going to get the hips or the joints moving themselves, and then we're going to go through basically and move our way towards the back and open everything up. Okay, so the first motion that I teach you has to do with the hip flexors. The hip flexors start right in the lumbar spine, or the low back, and then they attach into the hips and they're in the front. So the stretch is actually just kind of a lunge. What we'll typically do is I'm going to go down into this position on the ground. I'm going to keep my pelvis squared off as well as my shoulders. I can stabilize on my hips to make sure I do this movement correct, but I'm going to just lunge forward when I do it. Another thing about these stretches is that there's a method called active isolated stretching, or MATES method. And essentially a lot of the movements that I'm going to teach you guys to do, we do in that kind of form. So typically you're going to hold the stretch or the motion for about a 2-second period of time, then come back out, allow blood to flow back in, allow things to kind of rest in between the stretches or the motions. So this first one just looks as simple like this, as we lunge forward, opening up the pelvis in through here. And then we come back out. I'll classically do about 5 to 10 reps on both sides, but I'll just start with one of the sides. We'll go into it for a little bit. We come back out into the neutral position. Then we go back into it for about a 2-second period of time. We come back out. I just switch and go right into the stretch on the opposite side. Typically people are going to have one side that's a little bit tighter than the other side. It has to do with rotation, lateral bend in the pelvis, and in that low back region for them. And we just go back and forth. You still need to stretch both sides though. Since you're already down in this position, we go right into the next motion. The next motion, if you were to drop down in, is actually called a Spider-Man, because Spider-Man, just like our action hero here, goes down into this position. Well, the stretch that I like to teach with this, to open up the hips themselves, actually has 3 motions, and I call it a modified Spider-Man. The first motion is simply to position your body leaning forward while keeping your pelvis still down low to the ground. The next position, you're going to go off to the left. You're going to hold that one for an additional 2 seconds. Then you're going to go over to the right and you're going to do 2 seconds. I'll switch back and forth again, doing about 5 to 10 reps on both sides, but I'm going to make sure that I hit each one of these positions for about a 2-second period of time. So it looks just like this if I was to go into real time. I lean forward. I position my hands over, keep my pelvis low to the ground, I push it back, and I just open up that pelvis that way. Then I'm going to lean into it for about another 2-second period of time. Then I just simply switch legs, go right back into that lunge, and I go straight forward, position my hands across my body, push my pelvis back to open up that hip again, and then I lean into it for a couple seconds. And then again, I'm just going to repeat that. I'm going to do it about 5 to 10 times. The next thing, after we've opened up the front of the pelvis, open up the hip itself, is we have to worry about some of these big muscles in the lower body. So, got to worry about the quads in the front and the hamstrings in the back, and then we'll finish up with the glutes. As far as the quad goes, really easy, simple stretch you can do practically anywhere. Is just make sure that you stabilize yourself, so you can either go up against a wall, grab that ankle, and kind of pull that leg back. Most of us have done this stretch. Practically everybody I've ever worked with has done this stretch at some point in their life. But I typically will hold this one a little bit longer than that MATES method of active isolated stretching. I'll hold it until I start to feel a little bit of tightness in the leg, then I'll slowly start to let it relax. Then I switch sides. If you have really good balance, one of the things you can do just to kind of keep your core tight is you can raise the other arm as you go through this stretch. And just make sure your spine's in a good neutral position. And then again, I'll switch to the opposite side and I'll go through that motion. A hamstring stretch is simply to keep a good, healthy, neutral spine again. You'll push your pelvis back just so that you can create a lot of tension in through the hamstrings. It just looks like this as you start to lunge forward and that pelvis starts to come back. Some people are going to be really tight in the hamstrings, and so maybe this is the extent of the stretch. What I really don't like to see too much is people arching the low back to do this stretch. The point of a hamstring stretch isn't to see how far you can go. It's really to get a good stretch, a good motion or mobility out of that extremity there. So some people, like I said, may make it to here. Other people may be able to make that stretch go quite a bit further in through there. This one again, I may hold a little bit longer as I go through it than the 2-second period of time, but I'm still going to do quite a few reps just to continue to get that stretch in through there. The last thing we do is a glute stretch, because we've already opened up at this point the front of the hips themselves into the quads, the hamstrings. Now we have to get the glutes. The glutes, the easiest way to stretch that is to sit down on a chair. If you're at the CrossFit gym, maybe grab one of the boxes you do box jumps on, and then you're going to cross your legs. Some people can do this complete, stretching through here. Some people may have to go to this point. Wherever you're at, the key is I don't really want to see a lot of stress and strain put onto the knee. So make sure you've got your knee in a comfortable position and it doesn't bug you. And then what you're going to do, just like the modified Spider-Man, is you're going to hit 3 different positions. You're going to go straight forward. You're going to lean to the left, and you're going to lean to the right. Okay? Then I'll switch legs, and I'll do the same thing, straight forward. I'll go to the left, and then I'm going to go to the right. This one I do hold for about a 2-second period of time, each one of them, and then I'll do about 5 to 10 reps in through there, depending on how tight I am and how much I'm trying to get after it. So again, we'll go straight forward on this one. I may stabilize myself a little bit to make sure that I'm stable, just by balancing my other arm. And then I'm going to go into it. Then we'll switch legs. Good stretch again. And go across the body. And then across to the left. If you go through those 5 stretches in through there, you're not going to hit every muscle group that you have, but you're going to hit practically all the big ones in through there. You're going to miss a little bit of the adductors, the muscles that are in the inside of the thigh. You also are going to miss a little bit of the TFL in through there on the outside, but it's really a baseline. There's a lot of added mobility and stretches that you can do in through there, but if you didn't at least hit the baseline, you're missing a lot of things, and a lot of the little specifics you may be going after may continue to be tight because you just didn't get the baseline. So those are the 5 movements, and the key thing is, movement is required for life. Even if you don't make it into the gym, you should be going through certain spinal hygiene motions and mobility every single day. These movements that I just taught you, if you add them into your normal drills, do not take a lot of time. So key thing is, there's good and better. The only bad thing is not doing anything. So go through the motions. If you don't have this video and you forget, make something up, get your body moving. Looking forward to serving you guys some more. If you have any questions, ask me or go to your healthcare professional to make sure that you're doing everything you can to increase your health and vitality. Thank you. Looking forward to seeing you soon.